was higher, like above 102, and his temperature was like 102.6, then we're going to be very concerned that his temperature's too high, and we're going to want to cool him down faster. So to cool him down really fast, you're going to pour cold water on him, and if his vital signs are unstable, you're going to contact EMS. In case you see versions of that later, those are the opportunities. Number 10. The nurse assesses a patient during tracheal suctioning. For which manifestation should the nurse stop the procedure? A respiratory rate increases from 16 to 24. Oxygen saturation decreases from 98 to 92. Blood pressure increases from 110/70 to 130/80, or the heart rate decreases from 78 to 40.
The heart rate.
The heart rate, absolutely. So do you know why the heart rate might drop when tracheal suction?
Why?
She probably hit a bang or something.
Low oxygen.
It actually is a vagal response.
Oh, okay.
So we expect the respiratory rate to go up, the oxygen sats to decrease, and that's still within normal. Blood pressure to go up because you're sticking a tube down my throat. But the heart rate dropping is an adverse reaction, meaning you had a vagal response, and you need to stop immediately. Let the patient rest, and that heart rate will come up on its own. The patient states, I get really tired and short of breath at mealtimes. How should the nurse respond? Eat simple carbohydrates for quick energy. Eat fatty foods to maximize caloric intake. Eat frequent small meals to reduce energy use. Blend all and drink all food to eliminate sugar.
Small frequent meals. Thank you, Miss Robinson. Where's she at?
Robert. Robinson.
All right. Number 12. A nurse teaches a patient who has anemia to eat foods rich in iron. Which food choice indicates the patient correctly understood the teaching? Fresh fruit, cheese, green leafy vegetables, poultry.
Green leafy vegetables.
A nurse cares for a patient who has recurrent episodes of hypoglycemia and is on a regular diet. Which between meal snack should the nurse suggest to help regulate the patient's blood glucose? Lemonade and peanuts, polo and potato chips, orange juice and carrots, or milk and graham crackers?
C. Orange juice and carrots.
Everybody agree?
Yeah.
So though orange juice is high in sugar, it's not going to regulate the blood glucose level. We want it to maintain
A protein.
it has to stay at the same level. We don't want peaks and valleys.
Go into protein.
So it's going to be lemonade and peanuts.
Which one of these is going to keep it at the
Peanuts.
same level? So
The
complex
peanuts.
carbohydrates, the complex carbs.
Peanuts.
Peanuts.
So peanuts are okay, but your lemonade is not a complex carb.
D. It's D.
Oh, the graham crackers and milk.
See, I thought, but they see milk
Yes,
turning to
D.
sugar.
Milk and graham crackers gives you protein and complex carbohydrates. So milk and graham crackers is our best option.
That was a hard one.
Well, and you get caught, people get caught up because you see hypoglycemia and you automatically think orange juice.
That's true.
Yep.
So you got to think about what is this question asking? It's a between meal snack. It's to help regulate their blood glucose. We're not treating hypoglycemia here. We're just trying to regulate their sugars. 14. A nurse assesses a patient self-administering insulin. Which action indicates the patient correctly understands how to administer insulin? A. Pierces the skin at a 30-degree angle. B. Uses a syringe calibrated in milliliters. C. Uses a 22-gauge needle on a syringe. Or D. Rotates sites with each injection.
D.
D. Absolutely. The others are incorrect. What angle do we pierce the skin at?
45.
45 to 90 for insulin. Okay, it's sub-Q, so you're not going very deep. Okay, our syringe should be in units, right?
Yes.
What gauge needle do we use? Usually 26, 28.
The smallest.
They're teeny.
The smallest one, right?
Yes. Whatever comes with the insulin syringe. 22 is pretty big, though. Alright, a nurse assesses a patient who has an upper gastrointestinal bleed. The patient is vomiting maroon-colored emesis and has the following Glasgow Coma scale. Which action should the nurse take first? Insert the nasogastric tube. Assess the patient's vitals, insert an intravenous line, or assess the patient's airway.
D.
Everybody agree we're going to assess the airway?
No. I'm gonna go with vital sign.
So when you're looking at the Glasgow Coma scale, this patient, when you walk in their room, you can only get a response out of them by causing them pain. It says open eyes to pain. That means I have to press on their chest, creating sternal pain for them to open their eyes. And when they do that, they kind of go,
Come on, Dr. Little, don't do this to us. Oh, okay. You froze out for a second.
So incomprehensible sounds would be like, and they only move when you push pain on them. So if you picture this patient who has incomprehensible sounds and only responds to you when you create painful stimuli, you're going to be concerned about their airway.
Airway, breathing, circulation.
That's not all, and that is true, but you got to be careful with that. You got to read what the question's asking. So this one, it paints a picture here of a patient who is very much comatose. Okay, very close to being in a full coma, and those type of patients will not be able to protect their airway. So that would be done first. All right, 16. A nurse cares for a patient who experiences generalized seizures. When implementing seizure precaution, which action is most appropriate? Move the patient to a room close to the nurse's station. Serve the patient's food in a paper and plastic container. Maintain the patient's bed in the lowest position. Ensure soft wrist restraints are applied.
C.
C. The other ones would be inappropriate. Number 17.
How many do you have? Just curious.
I think there's like 40.
Okay.
A nurse delegates daily weights of patients in a nursing home to unlicensed assisted personnel. Which statement should the nurse include in the delegation instructions? So unlicensed assisted personnel, that's like a nursing assistant. So when we delegate weight, what are we going to tell that person? A, have each patient stand at the bedside scale. B, weigh each patient at the same time each day. C, ask the patients to remove their shaky and dizzy and has a blood glucose reading of 58, what action should the nurse take? Administer another dose of insulin, give a half cup of sweet fruit juice, report the patient's symptoms to the provider, or perform a head-to-toe assessment.
B.
Nurse cares for a patient who has peripheral venous insufficiency. Which action should the nurse take to promote venous circulation? Okay, maintain fluid intake of at least 15 milliliters per day. Apply elastic compression stocking. Dangle the patient's leg off the edge of the bed. Or apply a heating pad to the lower extremity.
B.
B. Those are like 10 toes, right? Look, I got 219. 19 again. A nurse admits a patient who has sickle cell anemia and complains of joint pain throughout the body. The patient's oral temperature is 102.4 and pulse oximeter reading is 91%. Which action should the nurse take first? Request an arterial blood gas, apply oxygen, start a large bore IV, or prepare to administer analgesics.
B. You gotta do B first, so oxygen 91.
But you give the pain first.
Let's see if it bring it up.
D.
Let's see if it-
As in dog.
I say B as in boy.
So this is sickle cell anemia. So what is causing the pain?
Cramping and the ischemia.
The disease.
Blood clotting. It's
So
ischemia.
the little sickle cells are kind of sticking to each other and therefore clotting in that little area. So the joints below that are not getting oxygen and blood flow. Our treatment for sickle cell anemia is first oxygen.
I gave them that same answer or question, Dr. Little.
I got it right.
They had that on their unit test.
So you need to start your large bore IV because sickle cell anemia is having large amounts of fluid,
Listen.
and you're going to give them pain medication.
Alright,
Yep.
it's on your handout, guys. hot.
Oxygen, fluids, and pain medication. That's our treatment for sickle cell anemia.
You gotta start, give them oxygen, because that's quick. You throw that on, and then you can start their IV, start their fluids, and then give them a pain medicine.
And the analgesics, you're going to give IV analgesics. Painful. Okay. A patient who has thrombocytopenia. A nurse assesses the patient's understanding. Which statement indicates the patient correctly understands the teaching? I will drink at least 3 liters a day. I will use a soft bristle toothbrush. I will not blow my nose too frequently. I will take aspirin when I have pain.
Soft bristle toothbrush.
You got it. So thrombocytopenia is at risk of bleeding. Chin. Who is to use an albuterol sulfate inhaler? A nurse assesses the patient's understanding. Which action indicates the patient correctly understood the teaching? Administer 2 times before inhaling. Holds his breath for up to 10 seconds before exhaling. Cleans the mouthpiece with a clean paper towel, or rinses his mouth with water after using the inhaler.
D.
His mouth.
It's actually B.
You hold your breath right between each one.
10 seconds.
We want the medication to come into those lungs, all the way down those lungs, and have the therapeutic effect you're looking for. If you puff it in and blow it right back out, the medicine's not going to be very effective.
Okay.
Albuterol is not a corticosteroid.
Just
Rinsing his mouth out is only needed for corticosteroid inhalers. albuterol is not a corticosteroid. So you want to look at what we did last week when we looked at the different types of inhalers. A nurse teaches a patient who has chemotherapy-induced neutropenia. Which food items should the nurse include in this patient's dietary teaching? Select all that applies. This is a true-false. Should this chemotherapy-induced neutropenic patient have a fruit salad?
No.
No.
Can they have applesauce?
Yes.
Can they have steamed broccoli?
Yes.
Can they have a baked potato?
Yes.
Can they have a garden salad?
No.
So only vegetables that are cooked or processed. You are correct.
Cooked or what?
Cooks.
Can't have raw stuff.
Can't have it. You know, that's neutropenia is this one
Because they don't have a
and the brown one is
They don't have enough immunity. And then there might be a bacterial and all that.
Why, that's the answer?
What?
That's what we're here for, is to make sure you understand why the answer is the way the answer is.
Yes, we got that one.
Correct. A nurse assesses a patient who was started on total parental nutrition 2 days ago. The patient complains of blurred vision, dry mouth, frequent urination. Which of the following actions should the nurse take first? Auscultate their lungs, assess the vital signs, slow the infusion rate, or obtain the patient's glucose.
D.
Which one was that?
D as in dog.
D as in dog. That is correct. So these are consequences of hyperglycemia.
Spit it off.
Patient who has arterial insufficiency. Which statement indicates the patient needs additional teaching? A. I may sleep with my affected leg hanging off the bed. I will elevate my bed above the level of my heart. I can sit upright in my recliner if it is comfortable, or I will avoid crossing my legs at the ankle.
D as in dog, or is B one and two?
This is arterial
Going
insufficiency.
away from the.
Oh, so hang with the affected leg off the bed?
Arterial insufficiency means that you're having trouble getting the blood to your feet.
Oh, so you need to put it above the level of the heart.
Sounds like you're guessing.
No, because the blood, you gotta get the blood to your foot.
So you need to pull it down so dangling, right? That's what I said first. She said
She's
that.
asking.
So what's the question asking?
Which one needs more?
Oh,
Would
which
need
one does
more
he need more teaching?
Elevate.
If he elevates it, he needs more teaching, right?
Correct. So we elevate legs for venous problems. We do
Because
not elevate our legs for arterial. We want to dangle our legs for arterial. So B would be we need to provide more teaching. 25. A nurse cares for a patient who experiences a seizure. After ensuring the patient is safe, the nurse documents the experience. Which information is most important to include in the documentation? The time the seizure started, the duration of the seizure, the patient's mood before the seizure, or the patient's pain level after the seizure.
duration.
Duration. We want to know how long the seizure lasted. Look at the answer for you. That sounds good. The nurse prepares to administer Novolin R 10 units and Novolin N 20 units subcutaneously at 7:30. We want to place the following in the correct sequence, and I gave you the correct sequence.
It's hard to.
We want to, you're going to put air into the NPH, or the Novolin N. Then you're going to put air into the regular insulin. You're going to draw up the regular insulin, and then you're going to go back and draw up the NPH. Clear before cloud.
I had a question like that before.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you drew the cloudy So it's always clear first, then you pull about it. You don't want to contaminate it. It doesn't matter if you get the clear or not. It's already dirty. Or already cloudy.
A nurse cares for a patient who has cirrhosis. Which intervention should the nurse implement to monitor for complications of this disorder? Review the patient's serum bilirubin levels, monitor the patient for diarrhea, assess for abdominal rebound tenderness, or measure the patient's abdominal circumference.
Is it the bilirubin?
Bilirubin.
Circumference.
A.
D.
Whoever said D, you are correct.
So the side teeth, you saw me nodding. You wide thing.
I didn't know that.
He saw me answering it.
What's the face when looking at
Why is that? Because of the ascites?
Ascites, absolutely.
So that's the fluid, guys.
Fluid in the
Remember how
stomach.
They swell up.
Okay.
It's pressure on all of your organs, and it's a significant complication of this disorder. A provider prescribes subcutaneous insulin. When transitioning a patient from an insulin infusion, the patient's blood glucose is 162. Based on the following sliding scale, how many units would you administer?
Wait a minute.
5.
Where did I see that?
5. So 162 falls here between 151 and 200, and you would give 5 units.
You reading it across? I'm like, ain't no number silly.
Nice how to read those? Alright, a nurse cares for a patient who has Parkinson's disease and is prone to constipation. Which food item should the nurse encourage the patient to eat?
Constipation.
White pasta, low-fat cheese, or canned vegetables?
What was the choices again?
Fresh fruit, white pasta, low-fat cheese, or canned vegetables?
A.
Apple a day.
Apple a day, keep the doctor away.
Okay.
That made you sound good.
A nurse assists the patient who has experienced an exacerbation of multiple sclerosis with activities of daily living. Which approach should the nurse use? So a patient with MS, we're helping with activities of daily living. We want to limit time to perform ADLs to 30 minutes. Eliminate whatever task the patient cannot perform. Let the patient rest between activities, or perform all the ADLs at the same time.
C.
Answer is C.
Yeah. Give them rest period.
Provide them with rest periods. Performing everything at the same time might be too overwhelming. Rushing them and trying to do everything in 30 minutes is not possible. And just because they can't do it doesn't mean we're not going to provide that activity for them. This patient can't bathe themselves, so we're going to bathe them. We're not just going to eliminate the activity. Nurse assesses a patient who has an arteriovenous fistula. Which sensation should the nurse expect to palpate at the site? Do you know what an arteriovenous fistula is?
No.
It's for the herpes, right?
That's for dialysis.
Yes, okay, so it's C, as in cat.
Cat, you will palpate a thrill. You will lift.
I do too, but remember that man that's the I learned that from clinicals.
Okay. So, an AV fistula, they're actually taking arterial, so an artery, and a venous line, and they connect them under the skin. And it makes this little, like, swirling area where the artery and the vein come together. They make like a little pool. And if you put your hand over that little pool, we call that a thrill. And you can feel it kind of swirling around there. If you put your stethoscope on and listen to it, you can hear it going swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. And that's actually called a bruit or beat. So you hear a bruit, you palpate it. Right. A patient who is on a 2,000 milliliter fluid restriction records her daily intake in her journal. A home health right now, but if you do not know how to do this math, you're going to want to catch up on that. So you would have to change the cup and the ounces to milliliters, add everything up, subtract it from the total allowed for the day, which is 2,000, and you would come up that the patient is still allowed to have 520 more milliliters. Everybody understand that?
Yes.
Okay. The nurse discusses vacation areas with a family of a patient who has multiple sclerosis. Which areas should the nurse suggest the family avoid? Areas with predominantly hot weather, areas where the climate is generally wet, places with dry air environments, or locations that are usually cold.
D. Cold.
This patient has multiple sclerosis.
Yeah, the cold.
So it's gonna be the.
Multiple sclerosis patients do not like heat.
I didn't know that.
Heat will cause a multiple sclerosis patient to not work at all. So if you think they're not getting that firing of their neutrons very fast, if you heat them up, they turn to like puddles of goo. My mother-in-law has multiple sclerosis. If I ever got her into a hot tub, it would take like 5 people to try to lift her back out because she would not be able to climb out of that hot tub. Her muscles would not work at all. Okay, so multiple sclerosis doesn't like hot. Try to remember that one. The speech therapist reports to the nurse that a patient who experienced a cerebrovascular accident has expressive aphasia. Which action should the nurse take when communicating with this patient? Speak using a low tone of voice. Have the patient point to key phrases printed on a clipboard. Complete the patient's sentences if he becomes frustrated, or ask a family member to interpret.
B as in boy.
B as in boy, absolutely. Want them to communicate and allow them to communicate with you. Assesses a patient in a healthcare clinic who is diagnosed with iron deficiency anemia. The patient states he has been skipping meals in an attempt to lose weight. The elimination of which food group is most likely contributing to his anemia?
B as in boy. It's iron, right?
Absolutely. Meat. Meat products is where we get iron. There's iron in some vegetables, but most of our iron comes from meat. Plans care for a patient who has a platelet count of 30,000. Which intervention should the nurse include in this patient's plan of care? Oxygen, bleeding precautions, isolation precautions, or vital signs?
C as in cat.
And what are platelets?
Oh yeah.
It's
Oh,
bleeding
bleeding.
precautions.
Bleeding precautions.
Platelets are your first response to somebody who's
That's
bleeding.
not white blood cells.
So if you don't have, if your platelet count is low, you want to put them on bleeding precautions.
Okay.
Platelets have nothing to do with infection. Nursing assistant for a patient who has leukemia. Which instruction should the nurse provide to the nursing assistant when delegating this patient's care? Evaluate the amount of protein the patient eats, assess the patient's room rate for symptoms of infection, perform effective hand hygiene frequently, or wear a mask when entering the room.
Oh, which one would you delegate?
Everyone agree?
Yes.
Absolutely. loss of body weight, decreased urine output, elevated body temperature, or output that exceeds input.
Decrease urine output.
So patients on dialysis generally have a decrease in urinary output. Because we're taking the fluid off a different way.
Anybody with dialysis needs to wait for
A.
So A.
It is actually C.
Oh, I was right. Yes, an elevated
Also the
tip.
infection.
Yes.
Concerned about infection. Peritoneal dialysis, what you're going to do is you're going to have a tube going into the perineum. You're going to infuse this highly concentrated fluid into the perineum from outside source. That causes a shift, so the body shifts fluid into the perineum to try to balance out the concentration, and then you're going to drain all that extra fluid into the foot. So that tube going into the perineum and our infusion into that puts the patient at risk for infection. So elevated body temperature is a concern. The nurse teaches the patient about complications of peritoneal dialysis. Which complication is most important for the nurse to include in this teaching? So here, where would we have that infection?
Would it be B as in boy?
You got it. So understanding what peritoneal dialysis is, it's right in that abdomen. So abdominal peritonitis is an infection of that peritoneal area. Alright, a nurse cares for a patient who has end-stage liver disease. The patient's spouse begins to cry while recalling various significant events they shared together. Which action should the nurse take? Offer to call a friend or family member? Listen to the spouse's expressions of thought? Suggest calling a clergyman from their church? Ask the spouse about future plans.
B as in boy.
B as in boy. We're just gonna listen. One to ear. Alright. The nurse teaches a patient who was recently diagnosed with thrombocytopenia. Which instructions should the nurse include in the patient's discharge teaching? Drink at least 3 liters of fluid each day. Use a soft bristled toothbrush. Avoid blowing your nose. Have you ever do this one?
Yeah.
I think so. That was use a soft toothbrush. I'm repeating myself. I think this is a new one. A nurse teaches a patient who has gastroesophageal reflux disease. Which statement should the nurse include in the patient's teaching? Eat 3 well-balanced meals a day. Eat foods that are easy to swallow. Avoid lying down after eating, or drink clear liquids at room temperature.
C as in cat. Meow.
C as in cat.
Yes.
Alright, a nurse cares for a patient who is diagnosed with epilepsy. Which precautions should the nurse institute to ensure the patient is safe while hospitalized? Place a padded tongue blade at the bedside. Permit only clear liquid fluids. Have suction equipment at the bedside. Maintain the patient on strict bed rest.
C as in
C. Suction equipment at the bedside. Yes, that is true. As for a patient who is recovering from a cerebral vascular disorder, which interdisciplinary team members should the nurse collaborate with? Is A, occupational therapy, true or false?
Yes.
B, speech therapist, true or false?
Yes.
Environmental services,
No.
podiatrist,
No.
nutritionist,
yes.
physical therapist.
Yes.
Nurse teaches a patient who has gastroesophageal reflux. Which of the following statements should the nurse include in this patient's discharge teaching? Select all that apply. Eat 4 to 6 meals, small meals every day.
Yes.
True or false?
Yes. True.
Okay. Limit alcohol consumption.
No, because they're not supposed to drink it at all.
But
Well, that is limited. Yes, true.
Okay. So we want them to limit the alcohol they're taking in. Drink carbonated beverages only between meals.
No.
No carbonated beverages. That's not good for gastroesophageal reflux. Avoid working in a bent over position.
True.
True. Wear I'll start to urinate for a few seconds and then start to collect the specimen. After I clean the area, I can let go of my labia and hold the container. I need to collect at least 100 milliliters of urine for the specimen. I need to use one antiseptic wipe to clean the sides and down the middle.
I thought you were supposed to avoid, not use the first P and then use the second one.
That is correct.
So the closest thing to that would be A, right?
It's correct. You need to start peeing, and then they start to collect the specimen. After they clean, we want to keep it clean, so you can't let all the dirty pieces come back into where the clean pieces were. Okay? The amount of urine is not so important. And they actually will get used to use different wipes. You can't just use the same thing over and over again. Okay. A nurse teaches a patient who has multiple sclerosis and is prescribed methylprednisolone, or Medrol. Which statement should the nurse include in this patient's discharge teaching? Take warm baths to promote muscle relaxation. Avoid crowds and people with colds. Relying on a walker when weaken your gait, or take prescription medications when symptoms occur.
B as in boy.
B as in boy.
I'm not shaking this thing.
That's because of the prednisone, right?
Yep.
All right, that's the last one. Let me find your syllabus here.
Oh, yeah.
You may sound like you're ready for tomorrow.
You made me feel so hopeful.
I'd be a little bit more ready if you'd like to go ahead and log on and kind of print us those questions. We can study them tonight.
These questions I just went through?
No, like the predictor questions.
This is scary. I have no access to this. Okay, ATI capstone. It states in your syllabus that you get 30 points per week. So, are they putting in points into the grade book, or are they putting in the percentage grade in the grade book for you?
It's like a, I don't know how to come up with it, but it's like a percentage because I'm thinking.
She said something about multiplying it by 0.8 or something of that nature.
Or maybe it's what you get divided by 8. That's not right.
Divided by 0.8.
You know the points you have
Yes.
for each week?
No, we have a total for the whole thing.
Oh, not for the whole thing.
Yeah.
You can get up to 30 points total. And how many weeks are there?
Capstone is like 6 weeks.
So, the total is 190.
It's a possible 195 or 200.
So weeks 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So 6 weeks. So 30 times 6 gives you what? 180?
Okay, so listen to our formula that we came up with and tell me if it sounds about right. We're going to do 184, which is how many points that we got over the total amount of points, which is 195 times 100.
Yes. My question is, how did you go with 194?
195 is the total amount of points that you can receive.
Okay. Oh, because is there extra activity that gives you more points?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
34 per week, which gives you 180, and then you can get 15 extra points.
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, if you say got 180, and then you divide it by 195, you said?
Yes, ma'am.
So that would give you 92%.
Yeah. So does that sound about right?
That sounds correct, yes.
Oh, okay, cool.
So that would go into the grade book as 10% of your overall grade.
Yeah, but can you possibly email ATI and make sure that's correct? Because Miss Robertson Donna does not have the formula to convert those.
Okay, yeah, and I can work directly with Miss Robertson to make sure she's putting the grades in the grade book.
Okay. Thank you.
Dr. Little.
Good luck tomorrow.
Thanks.
So email when you all aced it, okay?
All right. Go on. She said send the email when we all aced it. Dr. Little,
Yes.
why does us repeats have a different code for tomorrow?
She said, I don't know.
Why do you have your codes already for tomorrow?
No, we don't have them.
We don't have them already, but like we already know that it's going to be a different code than the regular level 4s. They're different what? Well, do you think we could get the
He's taking the version they're offering tomorrow, and that's why it would be different. But I would encourage you to get the new version for everybody.
well, I would like to have the version I've already taken.
Well, you can't have that, dear.
That'd be perfect. Okay, Dr. Little, thank you.
Yeah, I would have tried to get everyone to have the same code, and they also pick then whatever the new one is.
Okay, well, I'm gonna call you tomorrow after we take it.
Okay.
Okay, bye-bye. That was me who keep calling you, so answer it, Dr. Little.
I will.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye, Dr. Little.
Miss Robertson is going to get her daughter.
So you sending in for?
No, she was telling me that. I don't know. I'm waiting on her to text me back. She told me to pick this stuff.
Yeah, because you know they have to take them.
She coming back for sure. This is her stuff, and she gotta post stuff online. And